in every way we can, because we know that Russia must win this war. Thank you, Donald. What a real pleasure it is to be here with you in Poland. You know, when we met many, many years ago, you were President Tusk of the European Council. I am very happy to see you as Prime Minister of Poland right now. It is a tremendous pleasure to be able to work alongside you. Again, over the years, we've worked on many, many different issues together around the G7 table, on issues of environmental responsibility, economic growth, trade, and also standing up for progressive values and fighting for democracy. And to see you here doing this now is a very, very good thing. And I'm really, really happy on a personal level to see you, but also very glad as a Canadian Prime Minister to be here in Poland today. I had an excellent meeting this morning with President Duda, and the conversations we just had really emphasizes the extent to which Canada and Poland are aligned on the big issues of the day. Of course, you are a neighbor to Ukraine and a friend of Ukraine and a deeply committed supporter of their resistance to Putin's brutal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. I want to take a moment to specifically thank you for welcoming members of the Canadian Armed Forces stationed here as part of Operation Unifier, which has trained around 40,000 Ukrainian soldiers so far. Deputy Prime Minister Freeland and Minister of National Defence Bill Blair actually visited the troops here yesterday and witnessed some of their good work. Here we stand together on the front line of freedom. On Saturday, I was in Ukraine to mark 2 years since Putin's brutal invasion of this sovereign territory. I was joined by 3 fellow world leaders, the current chair of the G7, the current chair of the European Union, and the current President of the European Commission. We were there, all 4 of us, to demonstrate our collective resolve to be there for Ukraine and to support Ukrainians in their defense of their freedom, their language, their culture, their territory, and for the values of democracy and rules-based order that we all share. Prime Minister, I know that Poland is very much a part of these shared values. It's why you are such a steadfast supporter of Ukraine and a strong partner in NATO. We know that standing up for our values and our principles as democracies is not just the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do, because it is the only path to ensure peace, stability, and prosperity for all our citizens. We need the Polish people to continue to stand strong against Putin's games and disruptions. We also talked about what we can do to grow the strong trade relationship between Poland and Canada, which helps create jobs in both of our countries. This includes opportunities to collaborate on clean energy. This is important to us because we know many European economies, like Poland, are moving quickly to unwind their dependence on Russian fossil fuels. Canada is ready to be the supplier of clean energy, including, as Donald mentioned, with our strong nuclear expertise, that a net zero economy will need to bolster energy security in an uncertain world. Donald, like Canada, you see the opportunity that lies ahead in building a progressive, inclusive economy. I saw that as part of your new government, you've established a Minister of Gender Equality, which I know has given hope to many in the country. When governments set themselves up with a goal of creating an economy that works for everyone, when everyone sees opportunities for themselves in the future, when everyone sees ways to contribute and benefit, that's how you create resilient, strong, prosperous democracies. Canada has extremely strong friendships and relationships in Central and Eastern Europe. Together, we're working to reinforce our democracies by building economies that are inclusive. Poland and Canada are great friends and strategic allies with close ties, not just between us as leaders, but between us as peoples. As a perfect example, last night I had dinner with some friends in an excellent little restaurant that I highly recommend called Radio Café. It has a deep history of fighting for democracy, resist against totalitarianism, authoritarianism, and communism. But it was also an emblem of the connection between Canada and Ukraine and Poland when I found out that the owner of Radio Cafe had also opened a restaurant in Montreal, in my hometown. We are interconnected in our values, in our fights for a better future, and in our love of good things and good lives with those restaurants. Donald, thank you for meeting today, and I look forward to all that we're going to do together to deepen the friendship and the cooperation between Canada and Poland, but also to stand strong in creating a better world for everyone. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Merci.
Question is for Prime Minister Tusk. I want to know what you want to see from Canada in terms of meeting its 2% target at a time when you have a war raging on the other side of your border. And to Prime Minister Trudeau, if you would answer in French and English, if you please. Poland is considering doubling its military spending, hitting as much as 8%. Canada is obviously far behind our allies, and so I'm wondering what you are telling Poland and other allies who are expecting to meet their 2% target by the end of the year about why Canada is so far behind at this point.
Canada has long been committed to NATO. We have been part of just about every NATO operation that has ever happened, and most of them in leadership and command roles. We remain the 7th largest contributor defense spending in NATO of the 31 different countries in NATO. And since we took office in 2015, we've made commitments to increase our defense spending by 70%. We know there is more to do, and we are doing it. We are purchasing 88 new F-35 fighter jets. We are investing in the modernization of NORAD because we recognize that the Canadian Arctic is actually a new front for NATO in keeping our democracy safe. And we will continue to step up. The Polish military forces that are doing such an extraordinary job in coordinating and supporting so much here in Poland are also standing side by side with Canada in Latvia as we lead in Canada in NATO's Eastern Forward Presence. And as we increase our positioning in Latvia as well over the coming years, I know Poland will be increasing it as well. There is more to do. The world is changing. It's getting more dangerous. I recognize Poland stepping up significantly in its own military spending, but so will Canada. We will continue to make sure that the women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces and the people around the world, our allies who rely on them, will continue to get the equipment and the support they need. I'm not going to talk about internal European dynamics, but I will say that in all of our democracies, in every democracy around the world, we are seeing a rising movements of either authoritarian populism or skepticism about democracy itself. And we all need to recommit ourselves to standing up, not just for Ukraine, but through standing up for Ukraine, to the very principles that make our countries strong and free. It is a time where citizens cannot take their democracies for granted, need to continue to be there, to lean in, not just on being worried about their daily challenges, which are significant everywhere around the world right now, but making sure we are building peace, stability, and prosperity for future generations as well. And that means standing up unequivocally for the international rules-based order, standing for democracy against authoritarianism, against illegal invasions of another country's sovereignty. These are principles that are under discussion in every country around the world. And I know that the two of us are standing unequivocally alongside so many others in favor of the peace and prosperity that ensures a better future for everyone.
Prime Minister.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Thank you.
Prime Minister,
Thank you, everyone.
would you mind just to answer in English the question about delays in delivery and what you have in mind to replace what you're not able to deliver to Ukraine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nous allons toujours être là. No, in English. In English. Okay.
Thank you.
We will always be there to support with what Ukraine needs. Our conversations are ongoing, including 2 days ago with the Ukrainian leadership, including Volodymyr Zelensky, about how we can best help. We have delivered over $10 billion in aid, including significant military aid, drones, light armored vehicles, guns and munitions. We will continue to be there with what we have, and we will continue to purchase on the international markets equipment that Ukraine needs, like all our allies do as well. We are working closely with the American procurement system to get the NASAMS that we have purchased for Ukraine to Ukraine. We're accelerating the process of getting more light armored vehicles off the line in London, Ontario, at the factories there, and we're stepping up in every way we can, because we know that Russia must win this war. That Ukraine must win this war against Russia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.